This is our fourth session, and so this is all about level. So what levels theory, then how to define a level, how to import the data. So there is a theory part and there is actual practical part where we'll import the level data in the mantra and we'll see that how it is coming. Okay, so let's talk about what is the level. So the level is nothing but it's like categorizing some data. So if you want to categorize your item, then you will use product category or some model type. So these are the way to categorize that item. So in the Demantra, it's called level, and the level member is nothing but it's the individual unit of that level. So in this example, mountain bike is a level. This is one of the product category. And this product category is having three values like orange, green, blue. So these are become members and this is a level. So don't get confused with what is a level and what is a member. And again, this is again the Demantra question, exam question. What is meant by member and what is meant by level. So it will give some 4 different options and you have to select out of that. So yeah, so now each level will have some attributes, level attributes. These will store some additional information. It might be a descriptive or it might be a, for example, item. So item is a level. For this item, there are some level attributes. The examples are like length, width, height, density, weight. So these are additional properties of that item. Okay, so these are the level attributes. If you compare with Oracle, these are nothing but these are DFF. So when you define an item, you will have the item DFF where you will mention all these values. So these are the level attributes. So you can use the level attributes to further categorize your item. Like show me a laptop which is having a black color. Show me the data belongs to laptop which is having a black color. So that kind of filter can be used. So you can use the level attribute for filtering the data. You can use the level attribute to give some more information about that particular level. Okay, so now the level definition is stored in the group attribute table. So this table is having only the information definition of this level. And then what is the purpose of the level? The purpose of level is to show the data. It will be used for forecasting. It will be used for importing the data, exporting the data. So like if you want to export data for even organizations only. So now the E1 is a member of organization level. So you can export only that much data. Or you want to export only finished good forecast. So the FG is your level member and item type will be your item level. So these are the examples. And the labels and worksheets can be associated and this will help to open the worksheet from the member browser directly. So this is what we have seen. We can assign the worksheet with a label and then you can open that worksheet from that particular level itself. So let's open with functionality of worksheets that we have seen in the previous session. Now, what are the different level types? These are the level types. The first one is which pretty easy to understand is item and location. So item is having like product category or item type, etc. So locations like organization, operating unit, business group, legal entity, customer account. By the way, in the location, there are 2 dimensions. One is ship from, so it talks about from where it is getting shipped and shipped to, and that is to whom it is getting shipped. what is your customer, what is your customer account, customer class. So these are the location levels. So even the customer is part of location. Okay. Now the time level. So time level is nothing but like weeks. So if we combine 4 weeks together, it become 1 month, or you can say 4 weeks data. If you want to see the quarter data, then you will combine 12 weeks data or 13 weeks data. So these are the time levels. And let's talk about general level and the combination level. So the combination level, this is the level which is having data or which shows the data against the combination only, like item and location. So this is a combination. Against this combination, it will show the data in the worksheet. So when you select, I will open that combination level example, and then probably you can easily recognize. So the combination is show me the data which belongs to so item is Apple or the iPhone 7, and the location is US. So when I select that, if I want to see the data for these combinations, then I will give the set name. I think we discussed that in the previous session, right? Where I took one example in Excel and we defined some combination level, and we also discussed about general level as well. Right? So in the combination is nothing but we'll define one set name for item and location level, and we'll select that set name, and accordingly, so whenever I select that set, it will show the data for that combination. So it's a time independent data, whereas general level, it's a combination level only, combination data, but it's a time dependent data. So the example of the general level is a promotion. So the promotion, if you want to see the promotion data, then you have to mention what is the item, what is the location, what is the date range. So the promotions might be varying as per the time. So if once we provide these three information, then it will fetch the data. So that's the general level. Okay. So any questions so far? Okay. Now let's open levels in Dinadra. Okay, so go to business modular and then configure levels. So this rectangle represents, so this box represents, these are the item level, this globe icon represents, these are the location levels, this speaker represents the promotion levels, so these are time levels, this watch. So these are the levels. So let's talk about first item level. I think let's create a level, and then we'll directly configure that level. Okay. So if you want to create a level, so these are the steps we need to follow. Okay, now we want to create a level. What is meant by that? Like I want to import, I want to see the data against the item type. This is a requirement. Right now, Demantra is not showing me the item type. Like it's a finished good, components, MTO, ATO, CTO. So it's not showing me there. So I want to show the data as per the item type. So this is the requirement. So now if I want to show the data in Demantra with the item type, then I have to import the data from third-party system or from Oracle. So that means that I have to load the data from the beginning. When I say beginning, so that means from the data import point. So our data import point is our TMPL tables. from this TMPL table I have to import to the base table, and then everywhere I can see this item type data. So first we will import the data from TMPL. So for that we need to add one column in TMPL. So we'll use this script. Okay, so let's go to data. Item TMPL. Okay, so this is my interface table or the staging table for dmantra. I have to add another one column. Again, this is the base table. We are directly altering this, not base table, I will say this is the seeded table. But we are altering it. So first we alter this table. So this column is added. So this will be a last column. Yeah, so it's item type. Now the column is there. So now we have to load the data. Okay, so now let's load some random value. So DMT, what is item code? DM item code. Item code and so what I will do that I will perfect. So we got some values. So now we have imported, let's assume that we have imported data. Okay, and now the data is there. So now, next thing is we have to configure level. Okay, now we have added new column, right? So now this new column is not linked to any other base table column. So now we have altered the staging table. We did not alter any base table. Like each and every level is having its own table. So that table is not at all, that table we are not going to alter it. So how the data will be moved? So in short, we have to modify our integration. So that's why we have to go to the data model. And now data model, this is a DMSNOP data model. So rest of other options we will see during our data model session. But let's go directly to this screen, which is the data model screen. So here we mention what are the columns that we are importing to dmantra. So in this data model, we just defined a column, but we did not mention that we need to import the data from this table. So how that can be done? So you need to do right click on this empty white space. So if you come here and if you try to do that, then this cells date 6 is selected. So you have to go down. At the bottom there is a white empty space, then you have to do right click. And then there you will see some additional information. So what you want to do? So you want to create a new location dimension. So that means if you are creating a location level, select this one. If you are creating item level, then select this one. If you are creating new combination level, then you need to select the matrix dimension. So if you are creating a new unit and so rest of other information here like this. So I am going to create a new item dimension. So here it comes. Okay, now where is the data? The table name is TSRC item key MPL. What is the field name? So XX item type. Okay, so what is the property? What you want to call? I will say I am going to call this as XX item type only. Internal table same, or this will derive. So now dmantra automatically follows that nomenclature. So TEP. Why this always there the TEP? Is there any standard nomenclature? So there is some standard nomenclature which is followed by dmantra, but of course you can override that. So I can override this, but as a standard practice, I'm going to keep as it is. I'm familiar with this name, so I'm comfortable with this TEPXX item type. So this is the internal table name where this will have, this is a level table which will have this value. This will be your column name. Okay. Now you need to create another one dimension which is a description. Yes. So now right click here on this item, this new our level and create. So now if you recollect, I mentioned that we can create an attribute. So what is this attribute? Attribute is nothing but additional information about that level. Now this is the XX item type, and if you want to capture some additional information like when this new member was created, who has created or who has approved, and etc., then you can use attribute. Okay, but I need to have one description, meaningful description. So that's why I'm creating another one. What do you call sub level, and the data is I'm taking from the same column. So reason is, so this name is quite user friendly for me. But if this is not user friendly to you, like MTO, make to order, so that I know, but user is not aware about it, then you can have another one column. So you can alter another one column, and you can type your description like this, and you will load this what is the item type code and what is corresponding description. Okay, so you need to alter the two columns, but I'm good with one column. So I'm going to import the description data from the same table. So this is XX. And this is enabled, not enabled. So once I define these two, okay, then what I'm doing is I'm mentioning this data model that I'm loading the value in this custom column. You need to import that, and once you import that, then you have to modify your own seeded table. So you don't need to worry about modifying your seeded table. Like item information will be stored in the item table. The same way, dmantra automatically create one base table for this XX item type level. So this data model is modified. You want to save yes, and then I will say build model. And here always you have to upgrade existing model. You will not say don't say build a new model. I will explain you in the next session why we have to do that way. And press OK. Now what is doing is, so it identifying what are the different base tables where I need to modify. What are the different procedures which I need to modify. So dmantra automatically modify all the procedures and base tables as per the needs. You don't need to worry about it. So it will take some time. It will take some couple of minutes, but yeah. So first, alter the table. The second one, go to a business modular and then modify your data model. So this will make sure that EP item load procedure is modified, and as well as it will create some tables, and then we have to do the rest of other things. So we'll see that. We'll see. So this is the table which will be created by Demantra. I'm not going to create this table, so let's see whether this table is created or not. Perfect, it has created this table. Okay, upgrade finished. Now it is modifying the procedures. So not all the procedures are modified, but relevant procedures will be modified. Joins and conditions and everything. So now if you see now this base table is created for our level, and by default Demantra add this default level. So this is a level member. So what are our level members? Our level members are these are our level members. We are loading only 5 level members. Okay. Right now Demantra has added one additional level members, which is by default, and then so the tables and procedure is modified, but still data is not there. So the next thing is we have to load the data in this table. So now the modification alteration is done. So how to load the data? We need to run EP download procedure. We need to run integration. So go to workflow manager. So now what is the workflow? So this workflow will move the data from TMPL to corresponding base tables. So it's a data loading procedure which is there, and now that procedure is modified by modifying data model. So EP full download, EBS full download. So this is the procedure which we have to use. So I have started that workflow. So now this procedure will load the data into our table. So the item load procedure is done. So when that procedure is done, then corresponding labels belongs to item that will be loaded. So that item part is done now. Now once you define a new level and once you load the data, as a standard practice, you have to bounce the web server. So usually whenever we do our monthly cycle, we should bounce the Apache server. In fact, we down the Apache server when we are doing this data import. The reason is other user should not access the data. Other user should not use that data unless and until we complete our whole cycle, unless and until we load new data. So that's at that time we down this web server. Okay, so now I have restarted. Now next thing is we need to configure these levels. So now the data is there and everything is there. So we need to fine tune some parameters of this level. So let's go and see that. So our level is XX item. Here is our level, XX item type description. Level is defined at the product level. So this is the type of the level. So it's item level, or it's a sales level, it's a matrix level, it's a combination level or it's a location level. Accordingly, it will select that. Okay, now we are going to talk about individual parameters of this level configuration. So this is the item level. Okay, so if you go to the location, here is the location level. So our level is a item level. Our level is item level. So it's a sub level of item. So item itself is a one level. So this is a product level. This is a type of level is a product level. Then icon path and this icon URL. So all these are the these two are belongs to general level. Whenever we define one custom general level, then you can define what should be the icon and what should be the icon URL from server. So that information will store here. But if it is a product, it will be pretty standard. Now, what is the status? Enabled, disabled, it's enabled. What is a child? So it does not have any child. That's why the child level is empty. Okay. Let me show one of the childs. If you see, the parent is a product line, child is a product group, and further grandchild is a product subgroup. So the product group child is a product subgroup. So this is a child level. So at the root level, you will have grandchild. So this is the lowest level of dmantra. This asset type, demand class, the class code, item. These are the lowest level. Site, sales. These are the lowest level. You are defining the parent level or grandparent level. So in dmantra, always you will define parent or grandparent. Or dmantra strictly advise that we should not define any for lowest child level, because it's a base foundation and which get disturbed. So that is the recommendation. But of course we can try, we can do that, but there is a chance of missing data or some mismatching some columns. So it is always better to have a parent level. Okay, so this is one of the recommendations from Oracle. Another recommendation is, as much as possible, we have to use already defined levels. Now we have defined the custom level here, XX item type. Okay, another option was that I will rename this level XX item type, and I will load the data. Okay, now it's not unique, but and I will load the data to this TEP IATT2 column from TMPL. So in short, Oracle advised that we should not alter the TMPL table. We have to use already defined labels. We can rename it, but it is not hard and fast. Of course, you can customize it, you can define your own. But in that case, you need to build a data model. If I use this existing label, then I don't need to worry about modifying data model. And the modifying the data model, there is a risk. Some procedure might not get updated. There is lots of interdependency. So that's the reason Oracle recommends this way. Okay, so coming back to our level XX item type. So this is the child level. We don't have any child, so that's the reason. It's nothing is there. Now this order. What is meant by order? When we open the worksheet or not worksheet, when we open that worksheet designer, in the designer, it shows some levels, right? In the aggregation screen. So what should be the order? This level should be always at the top, bottom, somewhere, some 10, 15 rows. So that is the order. And hint message is something. Hint message, whenever we hover our cursor on that level, then it will give the additional information. So like So this is the additional information which provide. So whenever we hover our cursor over that level in worksheet, then it gives some additional information. That's it, nothing more than that. Then what is the width of that level? So it's a 20 pixels. So again, this you need to little bit fine tune and play around that. But by default it is a 20. Now these are the columns, tables, which are defined by dMantra. Okay, so what is the table name? TEPXX item type. So this is a table which has created dMantra. So whenever we touch that data model, there is a provision that what should be your table name. I think I have shown you. It can be, you can rename that or you can use the standard nomenclature. So I use the standard nomenclature. So the TEPXX item type. What is the key column, code display column, description column, code field column. So these are the fields like key. If you're familiar with the database or Oracle technical terminologies, that there are some always a key columns where you can build a linkage between the two tables. So this is the ID column. Then what is the display column? What you want to code a display? What you want to display? What is the description column? We are having a description and so if you see XX item type and XX description. So these are the column which are loaded. Both are having the same value because we are loading from the same column from TMPL. So if it is a 0, if you take example of this level, if it is a 0, then corresponding description is a default level. So we can do that way as well, but I have not done that way. Code column, descriptions column. Okay. Now another thing is extra from and extra join. So what is meant by that? Okay, so now when we are loading a data, okay, so the data is getting loaded from TMPL. Okay, but on top of that, if you want to add some additional conditions, like check this value in this one particular table, if it exists, then and then use it. So these are some extra conditions. If you want to add, then we can add it here. So extra from the table name. So for example, in our case, it will be for apps dot inventory. No, LTL item. So you can define that, but like your item type is one of the category, and then you can have some additional restrictions, additional conditions. So you have to mention the table name, then you need to mention what is a join. So how you are joining this this MIC column, MIC table with this TEPXX item type, like MIC dot I don't know, category, some ID, code ID is equal to dot XX item type. So we are adding some additional restrictions. So we can mention extra from and extra where, extra join condition, which I don't need. Next one. So now these are the attribute. If you recollect our discussions, so we discussed that we can have some additional attribute. So here we can add a new attribute, and if it is a new attribute, how we are loading the data for this attribute, how the data is coming to this attribute. So this is attribute column name. So table, some custom table, like here we can have the attribute value from label, or we can have the value from table. We can have some custom label somewhere in ASCP or inventory from where we can have this value. And then whenever a user do write, I will talk when I open this level in the worksheet. So this is here the screen where we'll define additional attribute. I will delete this. Now here we will define what is a default parent level and what is a corresponding default member. Why it is required? The reason is you cannot define you're defining something at the child level or somewhere at the middle. Okay, I will take example of this one. So here the parent is a product line, so you are loading a value for product group. Okay, so this is the intermediate child, so the grandparent should have some value. You cannot have child without parent. So that's the reason we have to mention some default value. If we will not get the default value from while importing it, it uses that value. So we don't have any parent for this XX item type. So that's why this value is null. And then hide the pre-coded default member. So now this is the default, this is the Demantra default member, right? So if you want to hide, you can hide that and that kind of stuff. So that's all about configuring the levels. Here, there are the two security settings. We have loaded the data, everything is there. Now we have enabled this level for a Demantra application, for demand management application. How to do that? That we have to go to this component. In the component again, we'll go to levels, and then we can see what is the this is our item, right? Yeah, here. So this is the XX item type. So it is having this icon, which means that full control. We can do the right click and we can see what is there. So full control I have given right now. Full control. Next, 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 and okay. So now demand management, this component got a full access. But now we need to make sure that this user who belongs to this DM component is having this access to play around these levels. So again, go to filters. So I will select this level. Now you can ask me why we are having so many restrictions. The reason is, if one of the level belongs to sales and operation planning or promotions optimization module, then that level should not be shown to the demand management. It's just a confusion, right? So that's the reason there is a complete barrier as per the application wise. The next barrier is now why the user level access, user level restrictions are there. Okay, so I am a user and I don't want to, and for me, I should not aggregate the data at the business group level. So you can disable this value from here. Like if you go to, like I'm a demand scheduler and I should not worry about this MTO type. It's a complete bifurcation. So for MTO there is another demand scheduler, and for rest of other model there is another one scheduler. So that's the reason this restriction is there. So I will give full access to everything and then next finish. Now I got access. Next thing is I need to bounce again the web server because I made some user level changes, so this has to be reflected. Collaborative workbench. So this is again login as admin, and go to item and org. And then go to worksheet designer. In aggregation, we need to select this XX item type. Now we can say MTO, CTO, MTO. So I will select some random values. I will remove this and I will select the organization as E1 because our E1 organization is having more data. Okay, and then say there are some series time aggregation 4 weeks. You have 4 quarters and future 1 quarter. Refresh. So in aggregation, we have to select X6 item time. If we rerun, now here we can see CTO, MPO. So this is the way we have to define levels. Just to recap, this is the end of this level sessions. So in this session we have seen what are different types of level, how to configure the parameters, then what are the different types, and then how to load the data into the level, what is the security aspects.